Welcome to the parachute method. Now, this is our version of a classic database reactivation campaign. It's a limited time offer that can bring an influx of new cash to your business using leads you've already paid for. We've had multiple studios make anywhere from 20 to 50 leads within 72 hours of launching this, even in lockdown. So before we go on, this is done via email and SMS. You have paid thousands of dollars probably to get all these leads that's sitting in your database right now, okay? These are people that might not have come in, they might have registered for something, didn't roll in, maybe did come in, didn't convert, or maybe like ex-members and things like that. Before I want you to go and spend any more money out there to get more new leads, I want you to use the ones that you've got and see if you can actually get them to purchase again from you or just to purchase for the first time. What I want you to understand is that of 100% of leads that you get, imagine a rectangle, 50% of those are non-buyers, okay? Just get over it. They're just... These aren't my stats either. There was a company in the United States, I'm going to butcher this, run with the story. There was a company in the United States that did a survey at massive trade shows. What they did was they took people's details on the way in and said, we're going to call you in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and 2 years. And we want to see if you purchased anything. What they found was over 2 years, 50% of people that walked into that trade show, i.e. leads, bought nothing. The other 50% were buyers. What's interesting was this. Only about 25 to 30% of the buyers, so 25 to 30% of the 50% were now buyers, as in they bought at the trade show or within the next 90 days. But the majority of people, the majority of the buyers were later buyers. It took them up to 2 years to purchase something. So I want you to think about this database reactivation campaign as the thing that will be going after the later buyers. Everyone's going after the now buyers. That's not that impressive. What's separating our studios apart from the general market is that they've got a strategy to go after the later buyers. And that's the parachute method. This is part of what is in the toolkit to go after the later buyers. What I want you to write down in front of you right now is the fortune's in the follow-up, the money's in the maybes. That's these people. So the offer needs to be so ridiculous, out of this world, so in tune with what the marketplace needs that they would feel stupid saying no if they're interested, okay? It will line up with the offer you've just created during our previous trainings. However, since you have a mixture of avatars, this is where you might want to make it a little less niche and more general, which is okay. You want to use a slightly different offer for X members versus everyone else, okay? You want to use a slightly different offer for X members versus everyone else, as these are way hotter on the spectrum of leads, so you can offer a discounted intro month straight into membership. Leads who don't know you as well are much more likely to take an action on a low risk intro that has got no lock-in. Okay, so why we want to run this before fully diving into a paid ads is smart because it buys us time, okay, while we get your ads ready and live and while the machine's still optimizing it and while you're waiting for the market to kind of like get interested in it. You've already run a database reactivation campaign and you've generated cash while you're waiting for the ads to kick. It buys us ad spend. So you want to use the cash that you generate from the database reactivation to put money in the ad spend. That way, like you're playing with free money from the start. And it's a no-brainer. It's an easier sell. They already know you. They've already showed interest in you. You've already paid for that lead in the past. Why not milk, and get a higher return on that investment? So the goal here is to launch it, okay? Don't try and perfect it, which I know you guys, that's like disguise for avoiding. I want you to launch it, spend the time to exhaust the follow-ups and see how many sales you can make. But don't get sidetracked on the main goal. Like don't get sidetracked with all the other stuff as well, right? We want to get that live and this is kind of in the meantime. Why does parachute method work? Well, most people are so focused on turning total strangers into paying clients that they completely forget that the easiest money you can make is typically inside your list because they already know you. You've already kind of ticked off the awareness. They're in the middle of the funnel. So my question to you is, how often are you making offers to that audience? For most people, it's almost never, or they offer the same thing that your list said no to, and then you just keep offering the same thing again. So the truth is, over time, you'll build a massive list of people who are on the 1 yard line. They're almost there. These are the later buyers, all the fence sitters who just need an excuse to push them over the edge to buy. This is the audience we really want to exploit and tap into. Now, there's a few reasons why people don't buy, but one of the main ones is that the time just wasn't right for them, okay? People will buy when they want to buy, not when we want them to buy. So what you're essentially doing every time you run a parachute, which is what we're going to suggest you guys do every single month, you're just not, what about now? What about now? You're just checking. So you can come up with your own offer. The one that we just use straight off the shelf before you start getting really good at running a parachute is you do like a big bundle for a month's worth of stuff, pump up the value, and then 50% off. That is the simple trick that we do at the start to get the ball rolling. As you get really into it, we've got clients that have been with us for, 6, 12, 18, 24, 3 years, months to 3 years. They are getting really creative with their stuff and they're selling things for like $600, $900 off email, which is hot. How to create your parachute campaign. So we've already created a templated offer and script for you in Wingman, but we won't know what you're willing to add or include. So it's absolutely your job to customize it and tweak it. We've even offered it to you as, I think, a document as well, so you can launch it with whatever system that you're using. It's important to take a second to think of the main reasons why someone isn't buying your product. Whether it's a value to cost comparison, too risky, too much work, too long to see results, have you made it too complicated? Create the solutions to use in your one-time offer. So you want to consider the seasonal context. So winter something, summer something, spring something, Christmas something, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's, there's what's called wrappers. So yeah, that's what keeps things fresh and new. You think of McDonald's. McDonald's have been marketing the Happy Meal since, who knows? But it always feels new because there's a new toy in there, there's a new campaign, there's Marvel something So the word of warning is I want you to be able to pass the pub test, right? So you can articulate the offer and keep it condensed. If you start adding too many things, especially things that I don't care about, you'll likely end up with no sales. So I want you to be able to kind of like, could you explain it to a 12-year-old and it would make sense? Not that the 12-year-old's at the pub. Or you could explain it to someone at the pub and it would make sense. Distributing your parachute method. So the final revisions to your parachute script, if you're a Wingman user, will be in here, okay? In this link, which we've gone through the training on that in before. I want you to schedule this email and SMS blast to be sent out through your CRM. If you're a Wingman user, you can use our step-by-step guide here. We've listed it all out nice and easy. Now, the parachute method text message template is this. Now, there's for ex-members, there's for ex-trialers and other leads, and there's for current members for a referral. They're the three main kind of segments, I suppose. For ex-members, hi, name. It's name from studio here. We've released our, whatever you called it, for 20 of our previous members. Now just half price. Only whatever for the first 4 weeks, then whatever for the second 4. Reply, I am ready to get started. Stop to opt out. Customize that for you, but that's a structure that works really well. For ex-trialers and other leads, hey, leads, studio manager name from studio, here we've released our whatever for the next 20 people only, now only this, no lock-in, see, because it's kind of like a trusting, and then you back yourself on being able to follow our instructions and our playbooks and how to keep 80% of those people that walk in on that deal to a full price membership. And for current members, hey, member name, studio manager here from studio, invite a friend to join you in the same program and you will receive, and then include your bonus here. So whatever your bonus is, I'm not saying to give away 1 week free, but include your bonus in there. Whatever is going to appeal to your market. Just text us this because, it might be free scans. It might be like Pilates socks. It might be a massage, like free bonus massages or appointments, whatever it is. Just text the name and number and we'll touch base with them ASAP. Now, in terms of the email, I won't read all this out, but here are some examples of the email template. Again, this is what's working well right now, but eventually you're going to start to customize all this kind of stuff, okay? So I want you to customize this and put your inclusions in, make it your tone of voice, and this is the start. Now, eventually when you get in there and you start doing more of these, this can get more advanced and you can try a different format. There's like short ones, there's 9-word ones, there's long ones, there's 3-day ones, there's plenty of stuff. But to get started, this is the kind of 101 parachute method. Now, why your parachute method may not work? Well, you're never doing it. Most of the time, the reason it doesn't work is that you're too scared to do it. You're trying to perfect it. You're trying to procrastinate. You're trying to give me 17 reasons why you're not going to do it. Just send it and be done with it. Nothing bad's going to happen if you send an email to your list, okay? You're worried that you might get some unsubscribes. Good, they're never going to buy from you. So this is going to actually be part of your operating cadence you're going to do every single month. Or you might be doing it too often. So you're either going from never doing it to doing it too often. When you see a studio that's like, or another business that's closing down and it's been closing down for 12 years, kind of wears off on people, okay? So they get a bit fatigued by the same thing. So don't do that. Messaging is not right. If you don't know your market and you're not speaking on their terms, they're not going to be interested. Your messaging is too confusing. If it takes them more than 3 seconds to understand, it's game over. Game over. You're not getting enough eyeballs, which means you need to start putting more people into your list, which is a separate strategy for that, which we can teach you on. But yeah, running lead magnet campaigns, like building a list, getting out there in grassroots. You're not filling the top of the funnel with the right people. Like at all or not with the right people. Sending it as a cold message. So this is the biggest thing that I see, and it pisses me off the most, is that, you know how you got those friends? They're probably not friends anymore. The only time they speak to you is when they want money off you. And you think, dude, fucking, is that it? So you don't want to be that guy. Okay? You don't want to be that guy. Add value to your list first. Gary Vee famously talks about jab, 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 right hook. Like value, 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 parachute. So send out some weekly nurture emails. If you don't know what to do, we've got some trainings on that later on. But yeah, don't be that guy. And then expect opt-outs. Calm down. If you get some unsubscribed, it's fine. Get out of here. They're never going to buy from you anyway. Or it was like a double up message, double up email or something like that. Don't freak out. This isn't like, they don't hate you. They don't even know you. Okay. All right, here's what to do when a Facebook ad gets rejected or an account is shut down. Now, listen, this bloody happens. Sometimes you did nothing wrong and it's just the machine learning, the AI bots going through kind of the Facebook land and, you know, something's triggered them and they've sort of turned it off. So again, don't panic, but it is important to make sure that, you know, firstly, we are doing our absolute best to stay compliant with Facebook. We've listed the best practices here, so definitely understand that. That's kind of your responsibility thing. And there's some additional resources here for you there. But look, if a Facebook ad gets rejected, duplicate the ad and change the copy or creative based on what Facebook is saying that you violated and just relaunch. Most times that fixes it. If your account gets disabled, then follow these steps. Look into appealing to the rejection of the ad, and that's where you go and do that. If it does allow you to appeal the rejection, definitely do so. If needed, you might need to go to manually contact support. So this is like an example here and where to do it. Here's the original message. And if they respond, we've given you the exact script that our guys who do this all the time do. So just see where that gets you. But if you need to create a new ad account and business manager, look, we've had to do this a lot of times. It might just be a necessary step. But again, in your Slack channel, you can kind of tag support. We've done this hundreds of times, okay, unfortunately, because it happens that often. But that's okay. We get around it and we don't panic. So yeah, we might need to set up a new ad account, new business manager, or if needed, you know, in the meantime, while that's getting unblocked or reactivated, we'll shift, you know, to a heavy organic focus for you, which good news is working really, really well right now until your Facebook page and your Facebook ad account gets working again. So again, when it happens, don't panic. We've seen it all before. Just lean into this training and follow these steps. So the first thing is, please team, start renaming yourself. So just how I've done it there and how Soph's going to do it, how Marley's going to do it, how Benny's and Aaron's going to do it. So we just go first name and your Instagram profile. The reason why we're doing this, guys, is because you guys have said that you love kind of like increasing your professional network in here of people that really get what you guys are going through. So what I encourage you to do is like follow each other, follow me. I don't just need a couple of follow, I do, but I love getting around you guys when I see you on my gram, getting it done. That's why I knew Bexy was going to launch, you know, her new concept as it was happening. I was like nibbling on the fucking things and I was putting the fire emojis in and I was integrating, you know, and I want you guys to do the same for each other. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, yeah, success is a team sport, friends. So please get your videos on, I want you to be here in this call. Okay. You've taken the time, as Sophie said, you've taken the time, you've woken up, you've set the time aside. I want you to be here. I want this to be an interactive session, high vibes, high frequency. Otherwise I just do this for YouTube and save everyone some time and just watch it on the replay. So, you guys have asked for more coaching. So I'm blessed to be able to do this with you guys. Truly, I'm so grateful for that. But you've called for the ball. I'm going to throw you the pass and you've got to be ready to catch it. Okay. You've got to be ready to catch it. It's what's caught, not taught. So team, just wave it around in front of me. What are you going to write with? Great. Don't just stare at me. What are you going to write with? You catching stuff? Good. All right. Awesome team. Absolutely pumped. A couple of announcements as everyone's getting ready. Defender season is on. So for those of you that are in $1 Million Studio with the coaches and Soph and that kind of stuff, Soph launched it last week, the Defender session. Great turnout. We went through the whole strategy of it, etc. So if you missed that, it's in the replays. But definitely the homework off the back of that was to launch your, what was it, team? It was to launch your teaser, right? It was to launch the first of the 1131. Last week, we also talked about at the Win the Month call, we also talked about the 5 non-negotiables, right? So I'm not going to ask you guys if you're doing it because that's a standard we're going to hold you guys to. I'm totally assuming that you are because you guys are elite. Assistance. Oh, okay, so the team said, I've got to definitely talk about this. So many people have reached out to Benny in the background since the Win the Month call last week. You guys are finally, the few that are left have come to your senses and are ready to get liberated from 20 hours of dog shit admin that you don't need to do. But we sort of got sold out. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to do like a bulk intake and put them through a 1 or 2 week assistant academy, like a boot camp. And then they're going to come out the other side of that ready to liberate you from 20 hours of admin, button pressing, marketing assistant work, wingman, CRM work, and some other bits and pieces. I really love that you guys are getting, those of you that have got the assistants and I've had them for a little while now, like you've found your own groove with them in terms of other things that they're doing for you, like chasing failed payments, setting up classes on your system, updating your website for those of you that have got access to your own websites, making like landing pages, in Wingman for you guys. Fucking perfect. So if you're kind of still in the busy trap, right? Or you just want to go faster, buying back your time with an assistant is the first of the how, right? That's the first way to do it. So if you want more information about the next sort of intake, just type assistant in the chat, and then the team will reach out to you with the new process and how it works and some dates for the intakes to get your order in, so we can kind of do it, and we might need to do a separate call on that. Events. You guys have, there's probably not a week that goes by where we don't get a request to do an event or something where we can really dive deeper into a topic outside of these 1 or 2 hour calls. Normally we get asked for things like leadership, like fucking sort my leadership shit out and my team, and you want to come with questions and like you actually want to do like proper full on like 1 or 2 day workshops together. We've been asked for like marketing, in-depth marketing stuff, in-depth productivity and systems and the tools type stuff, but and also some mindset stuff. But I've kind of been holding back. Probably it's just my own stuff, and probably because I've been to so many boring fucking events in my corporate life. Those of you that are ex-corporate would definitely hear me on that. But out of those 3 topics, team, or a different topic, so like productivity, leadership, mindset, or like marketing type stuff, which one would you want to go deeper on the most? Because I've got some calls lined up with some external partners that we're going to partner with to make this really fucking epic. So just type that into the chat. I think it's going to be leadership. Like I want to do leadership stuff, but there's no point me wanting to do it and no one else. What do we? So we're seeing some marketing. We said leadership. Oh, good, perfect, good. Don't just say because I want it, team. Just what do you actually want? At some point we'll do it all, but
they all said that before you said you wanted it, so it's all good.
I'm mad. God, you guys are epic. Fuck, I love you guys. All right, the last piece is the engagement gift, right? Nadi won the award last week. Shout out to Nadi. So what I want you to do, team, is I want you to, with your scribbles, I want you to take some scribbles, fire up the chat, like shit, like just engage in the chat and like, because when you write things down, it sticks, right? And I want you to share it with each other here. But what I want you to do is take a photo of your scribbles, take a photo of this call and your scribbles, and share it. Post it to the world. Like post it to the world. Share with the world what you've been up to, what frequency you're on. Like Chloe, well done with all the balloons. Like signal your frequency with the world, team. Send it out there. Fucking show the world and the universe that you are learning. You are in a growth phase. You are doing all that sort of stuff. Your members love seeing it. We love seeing it, and definitely stay to the end. All right, with that, team, with that, I want to see your wins in the chat below. So before you just rush off and do it, what I want to really see is like fully formed sentences so you can actually help someone else on the call, right? So I don't want to just see sales or rollovers. Take a second to think about like your plan, your goals, like turning some of those struggles into success, right? Like perfect soap opera, struggle, success, right? And like, what was your like, and step into your power here and fucking own it, right? Own it as the leader in your business. What were your wins last week? And especially the ones that were the hardest ones for you to crack, you finally fucking did it. All right, so take 10 seconds to think about it and then light up the chat while I fire up this iPad. Anything from you, Soph, while we're cruising?
I think you've about covered it. Keen to see what the wins are here, guys. And yeah, the calls for Defender, just in case anyone missed it in the chat, is going to be every 2 weeks. We call them fortnights over here, bi-weekly if you're not from here, just to give you time to integrate what you've learned. So right now you should be implementing your seasonal retention program, start doing your teasers. That's what I want to see when I look at your Instagram. And then we'll do your marketing plan in our next Thursday session, not this week, the next one. Took the first step in submitting an application for a Geronimo assistant. Hell yeah. So I can offload tasks that I no longer have time to focus on and win back some of my own personal free time. I have 3 applicants in my inbox right now that I have to choose from. Exciting. Nice. So exciting. You're not going to know yourself in the best way possible. My win was that I took 3 days off to give myself a mental break and watch my team without me. This has given me perspectives into the holes in the business so I can shifting from technician to operator. Awesome. I love that you guys have that as top of mind. It's really important. Successful open day and rebrand week. Yes, still looking so amazing. All the hype on your socials. Amazing feedback from members. 100+ new followers on Insta this week. Wow. I've been back with the team and members. Some ex-members came back too. That's awesome. Congrats. Keep going, guys.
I'd rather you take your time and put some good stuff in there, team, so you can reflect on it.
Yeah, and I think they are. Yeah, try and relate it back to your plans as well. Like we're about halfway through for most of you guys, your 90-day plans, and still seeing record growth from you guys in the academy. So well done on continuing to submit your numbers. If you are on track, like you should feel really amazing about that, and you should take some time to celebrate that, however that looks for you. And if you're not, please make sure you check back in with your coaches, because that's literally what we're here to do. And that's exactly what your members should do with you. I'd assume that's what you'd want anyway. Min has said, I completed a hat and task audit. Okay, all the hats I'm wearing. I was like, am I reading that wrong? All the tasks I need to do, and time blocked my calendar. Amazing. I feel so much more organized and in control of my diary. Love. Rolled out new retention strategy to team, set up meetings with potential partners for partner programs. That's awesome. What I love hearing about that is you have delegated ownership of KPIs, you're stepping into your leadership role, you're becoming more organized and working on some extra things, like working on the business, moving it forward. So well done. Everyone get around Min. My team and I have established a clear system for task delegation and accountability, frees my time to grow the business. Awesome. Have the right team of coaches supporting one another and delivering in the studio, good communication amongst the team. This is so cool, guys. Obviously results are really cool, but there's such a theme here of you guys becoming more in control and more empowered with what you're doing with your time and using your team, which is arguably one of the hardest parts of it. Really starting to get my time back by not doing bullshit tasks with my VA. Awesome. Now I have a solid plan in place for lead nurturing with emails planned out, same as Min. So working on the business and moving things forward, additional social media posts to show that what we are about as a community. Love that. Would love to check those out, Rach, if you chuck your Instagram handle in your username so everyone can kind of have a look at what you're doing. Finished 90-day check-ins with my teams and now have made some changes to have right people in right seats. Went away for my mum's birthday and turned my phone off. Good. Oh, hang on. The chat box disappeared because we've got some new stuff on the screen. I'm going to read these last 2 out. Finally booked a wrist surgery that I've been putting off since October. You should be able to get your VA to do that moving forward. Been rolling with a broken wrist since I was 8. Jesus. Got refocused and had the start to a really productive week. Set myself up with time blocking and prioritizing myself. I started training a new coach and began coming up with new money making ideas. Guys, this is so awesome.
Epic
And you know what's
team.
even more like, aligned here is literally what Doze is about to run you through.
Mm.
It's going to help you to elevate to the next level of like being productive, organizing your time, using your team better. So how cool is that? The real theme with your wins this week.
You guys are awesome. Well done, team. Really well done. And I love seeing the language change as well. All right. So what we're going to do, team, on these sort of Tuesday calls is we're going to cycle through sort of the 4 pillars of the business that will unleash your hidden potential as, an entrepreneur out there using your power for good, right? To change lives. So the sort of 4 pillars that we're going to go through is revenue. So make your money. Write this one down, team. We're going to go, or Marley will help out. So revenue, we're going to go through revenue. Here we go. The 4 pillars. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. We're going to go through revenue, making money. Doesn't matter what kind of business you're in, you still need to make money. Even charities still need to make money. That's called fundraising, right? We're going to go through mindset, which is also your identity and your habits, right? Of high performers. We're going to go through systems and tools. And then we're going to go through team and leadership. These are the 4 quadrants that all great businesses need. It doesn't matter what size you're in, whether you've got 1 person or you've got 100 people, right? So each week we're going to go through, I'm going to go through a 15 to 20 minute teach component, 15, 20 minute teach component. And then we're going to go through, and then it'll be like question and answers, okay? And then how we ask questions, because can someone volunteer? How we ask questions is we go down to the reaction tabs. Who's going to be the first to volunteer? Boom. Down to the reactions tab, hit raise hands, which puts you in order. And then what I want you to do is we choose you jump off mute, you start with the revenue win, because I want to get you guys like what you focus on expands, right? So let's start with the revenue win, start with a number win, and then your question. So today's call is a systems call. Now, when we talk about systems, write this one down, team. So systems, right? System stands for this: save yourself time, energy, money, and stress. That's what systems actually stands for in the world of Dozer. System stands for save yourself time, energy or emotion, money, save money, and stress. Save yourself and all this sort of shit, right? So my question for you guys is, when it comes to your time and focus in the week, what do you struggle with the most? Into the chat, please. When it comes to your time and focus for the week, what do you struggle with the most? Because I'm going to introduce you to something called Separation Sunday, but this is 2.0. For those of you that have been around for a little while, this is Separation Sunday 2.0. So I used to be so bad at productivity, like fucking so bad. And I think it was because of my corporate life, right? It was so common to get to the end of the week. It was actually kind of a rite of passage. Like for those of you, just show of hands if you've been in like ex-corporate. Yeah, totally. It was almost like a sport. Like, see how much time you can waste during the week to get to the end of the, to get to Friday drinks, right? God, to get to Friday drinks and, almost like shit talk about, it was just so like part of the culture. And I worked in good companies, but you were just so busy and actually get nothing done. It was almost like, you'd have meetings for meetings about other meetings. So yeah, it wasn't really encouraging that sort of corporate environment. But then in 2014, when we opened our first gym, after about sort of 6 to 12 months of, to be honest, like almost going broke, not making a lot of money, but still being busy. Like still get to the end of the week and just go like, well, I feel like I've done stuff. It's not like I've been bludgeoning, sitting around doing nothing. Like I've been doing stuff, but like the numbers like didn't show for it. And yeah, what I realized was I was really struggling with my focus. Again, first time in business, right? I've had photography business and things like that in the past, but it was my first time in a gym, right? With real people in front of us. and I had no idea what I was doing. No idea what I was doing. No idea what we were doing. So nothing was moving the needle. And after it took us 11 months. It took us 11 months to pull $1,000 out of the business. And I thought, fuck man, we're not going to do this again. Like, we can't go through another year and not pull out money out of this business. Did anyone sort of resonate with me on this? Yeah. So 1 year for my New Year's resolution, I set a goal of being 10x more productive, so outputs, without working anymore, because I had a family now, right? And it was across 4 pillars of my life, because the real talk was I hated where we fucking lived. My health wasn't great at the time. That sort of first year in business, I think it's quite common. First year in business, you put on weight, just things happen. Other things in your personal life sort of fall by the wayside. So I didn't like where I lived. I used to be in an international marketing job, 6 figures, and I was pulling home 0, right? So I didn't like what I was earning, didn't like where I lived, didn't like my health, all this sort of shit. So first year, New Year's resolution, I went, stuff it. I'm going to really lean into productivity. And I want to 10x everything across my life, but I don't want to work. I don't want it to just be because I'm working around the clock, because I don't think that's right. So the 4 pillars of my life was work, personal/relationships, health, and wealth. So I set out and I interviewed professors, I interviewed CEOs, I interviewed engineers, I interviewed the most successful people that I knew that were actually happy, not just the miserable millionaires. And I read 3 books that fucking changed everything for me. Do you guys want to know what those books were? Yeah, here we go. Write these ones down. The first one was called The One Thing. Now, The One Thing taught me that true focus, Steve Jobs level focus, Elon Musk level focus, the buffet, his level, the true focus means that we need to be okay with inviting a little bit of chaos into our life. That's the nugget from that book, right? And if you're going to struggle with that, I would encourage you to sort of lean into just trying it for 90 days, right? I tried it for a whole year. The next book was called Deep Work by Cal Newport. What a gun. What a book that was. TED Talks, there's everything about it. And most other books, quotes, most other, YouTube videos, journals, all that kind of stuff, they quote Cal Newport's work. Now, the third book is, do you remember how I talked to you guys in the rollover module about this book called Hooked by an author that I cannot pronounce their name for the life of me? But that yellow book, there's a second part of that book. It's called Indistractable. 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 Those 3 books changed everything for me. And it really there was commonalities across all, and it was science. So this wasn't woo, and this wasn't just try harder. It's not that. This is proper science, okay? And so here are some big ideas that I want you guys to write down. The first one is you don't get what you deserve, you get what you focus on. Type that in the chat for me, team. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you focus on. The second part is it's all about eliminating distractions. It's all about eliminating distractions. Take your pens out and do this. Ready? Type distraction. You know what's cool is it's in the name. Check this out, right? You go distraction and check this out. It's already there. Traction. To get traction, you've got to remove the distraction, right? You remove the first 3 letters. And then the only way, and you guys know this because you're doing so well with your 90-day plans, the only way that you get traction
is to remove 2 more letters. And it's already there. It's already there. So cool. Look at that. Oh, my fucking screen. Actions. My fucking screen needs to get a bit of action. Anyway, so action, right? So remove distractions. First one is you don't get what you deserve, you get what you focus on. Type that in. The second one is you eliminate distractions in your week. And I mean from your environment. From your environment. If your desk is full of shit, like if your phone's going off, if you haven't like to put a little moon on, it like you are doing it to yourself, right? You are doing it to yourself. And I've got kids, like I've got 3 kids now, right? So like I totally get it. I totally get it. And there's some like all the boundaries and stuff like that you can set as well. So, and then the third part of it is that you've got to design your perfect week. You actually have to every single week. If you think about the perfect year, for me to 10x all my stuff, I had to think about like, that was the perfect year. I had to design the perfect week, right? And the best way to design the perfect week is to if you don't design your perfect week, it'll be designed for you. That's the next nugget, right? If you don't design your perfect week, it will be designed for you. You will be assigned one, which is what was happening to me in the business, right? If I didn't design it, so I just got assigned one. The universe just went, here you go, Dose. There's kids. Here's your week, right? So this thing's called Separation Sunday that I came up with because off the back of like reading all those, books and learning all those things, I put this into practice for myself. And the reason why it's called Separation Sunday, because I hated so much the position that I was in, right? Like for myself, for my ego, for my family, everyone. And then the pain of staying the same was way too much for me to stay here. So I needed to separate myself from that identity. That's why it's called Separation Sunday. And also because I fucking knew that all my competitors around and the market, which wasn't the problem, it was me, they weren't doing this on a Sunday morning, right? Even with kids, even with a busy household. So what I developed, that I'm going to show you. And so just have your iPad on standby. I can't explain it other than like my number plate now is 10X, like DOZ 10X now. That's my number plate now because I hit all my goals, right? Including the 10X my earnings. But like, that's not a humble brag. That's literally like what I wrote down because I hated like turning up with $0 at home. We've got the templates for this and we've updated it. It's always been there, but we've updated it. And there's also, I've also created this in Notion now. So you guys keep hearing us talk about it, and then Nadi just went, there's a whole system now that I've done that. It's in Notion now. So this is the 2.0, but I don't want to distract you guys right now with the template side of things. I just want you to kind of really get the concept so that we can sort of run through it. So draw yourself a triangle and about 2/3 towards the right, just draw yourself one more line that goes down, just goes down the page. Lengthways, and then 2/3 in, you draw a vertical line. All right. So this is the process. This is literally the process. So every single Sunday, you guys, if you're on my Instagram, you see me do this every single Sunday, right? The process is, now this isn't some like long drawn out, you've got to do it for 3 hours. I don't have that time because like the kids are going to wake up soon. And like, I just don't have that much time on a Sunday morning, right? Even though I am, prioritizing it. So the rule is you pour yourself a coffee or you order it, right? That coffee, if you order a large one, that coffee is the timer. This whole exercise can get done in one coffee, right? My order is a large ice long black. For every single week, I can get it done in that time. So first thing, order your coffee or pour one. The second thing is then you do your brain dump, right? You do your brain dump. This is like your journaling. I don't know, something happens. I'm sure there's some science to this, but something happens when you articulate it on the way out, right? When it's just kind of around here, particularly if you're an overwhelmed, particularly if you're an overthinker like myself, there's something about getting it from here and floating it around onto a piece of paper or an iPad or the computer that just, it kind of crystallizes on the way out. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, cool. That's why journaling, my wife's a psychologist, like journaling is a fucking thing, right? Like it's a thing. So firstly, journal it, brain dump, articulate it on the way out, like lean into the feelings, like whatever it is that you're feeling. Like if you're overwhelmed, if you're nervous, great, good, put it in there, right? And then the next thing you're going to do is, and it's the first box, is to review your wins. So then you switch into gratitude, right? So this is gratitude. Again, science. Dr. Joe Dispenza, After My Heart Attack, like it's in all these books. For those of you guys that are fans or fans of like, you know, mindset work, like gratitude. Again, it is now prescribed, right? It changes your brain. Like brain scans prove this, right? And then it gets you into thinking about looking for the diamonds in the week, grateful for what you're going through. So what am I grateful for? Boom, right? It would be like and like, you know, your team, like your family, like roof under, like sometimes I got a little bit, you know, like the aircon was great in the summer, but like get a little bit deep here. Then the second thing is like to review the stucks, right? Lean into your stucks. I think so many times people are like, oh, no, don't worry about it. No, lean into it. Where are you feeling the constraint? I feel it. Like I feel the constraints, right? So review, like write them down, label, put it down on paper. This is where I'm getting stuck. And then the third part is to review your goals, like your vision, and then your goals for the week. Remember, the vision is like one of your non-negotiables, right? I can't explain to you like how I went from there to 10x. I don't know how else to say this, but I fucking stared at this thing every day, 3 times a day, right? Like it's still in my notes file, like what my goals that I set for myself in the business and my life and personal, all this kind of shit, wealth, etc. Like, and then from that, you set your goals. I think too many times the mistakes that I see is people kind of like set random like sales numbers or random goals, and they're like, is that right? It's like, well, I don't know. Like, what's your vision? Like, pull it back. What do you need to do this week in order to sort of achieve that? So then once I reviewed the goals for the week, then I looked at the 4 pillars, and this is on the templates, and you can choose whatever your 4 things are. But in all my research, you know, in terms of making us happy as humans, first it's you, like draw these 3 circles. There's you, and then the circle outside from that is relationships or personal. Like firstly it's you, then it's relationships, because we are social humans, right? Social animals. And then it's work. You can't, I don't know, it's almost impossible to turn up 110% at work and just be like 10.0 version of yourself if there's distractions outside of work. Happens all the time, right? So the 4 pillars, boom. So here's where it gets into the nitty gritty. Now you've got your 4 pillars. The task now is to put 1 to 5 things, the outcomes, right? 1 to 5 things that if you were to tick those off this week, and you get to Friday, we'd call it a fuck yeah Friday, and you've effectively won the week. You've got another week in the bag. 1 to 5 things per pillar, right? Now, if you're feeling like you've been stuck for a while, just put 1 solid thing. And so do them in order of like what's going to really move the needle, so that if the zombies took over and all the conspiracies were right, if you just got that 1 thing done this week, you still won the week. Is that making sense, team? So far? Great. So this is where it gets cool, right? So far you've got, it looks like Sub's having the same problems I'm having with the iPad. I think it's a Zoom issue. So the first thing that you've done is like, you've done the journaling. So first thing, like you've ordered the coffee, you've done the journaling, you've reviewed the wins, you've reviewed like your stucks, your constraints. Then you've reviewed the goals and the vision, right? Where you're at with that. And then for each of the 4 pillars, you've put the 1 to 5 things that if you were to hit those things, you've won the week. You've won the week, and you get to Friday and you can send me a text and say FYF. They're the 3 letters. Fuck yeah, Friday. Okay. So this is where it gets cool. At this point, I used to have 4 names across the top of my page and 4 colors, right? Here we go. I used to have 4 names and 4 colors. At this point, team, it is who, not how, right? It is a who, not how. It is a who, not how, which means I think sometimes you guys, I'm giving you permission, like you don't have to do all these things on the piece of paper, right? You don't need to do all these things on the piece of paper. Someone needs to, and you can totally oversee the fact that it got done, right? Because I'm totally not delusional. At this point, it was myself, then he was at the bank still. We had some studio managers and we had some people in roles, right? We had like playmakers and the team. We had the playmakers and the role players, right? So I used to then, of all the things that I wrote down, I would color code it. So if Soph was like green, I would highlight the things that Soph needed to do. If there was stuff that my assistant needed to do, I would highlight them a certain cut. So then I would see this sheet and I'd go, okay, cool, look, some things are my things, right? It was my responsibility to make sure we won the week, right? Overall, because it's your business. But these are things that I'm going to delegate so I could elevate to hitting my things. So it's who, not how. It's who, not how. So you can delegate to elevate. If you don't have an assistant or you don't have anyone doing your sales calls and stuff like that, it's all you at the moment, right? But I'll come to that in a second. So then step 8, right? So then step 8 is, this is where the rubber hits the road. Step 8 is to time block it. So it's like the biggest mistake that we see here is, and for anything like my wife, there's list for list and list and list. Like, great, but put it into the calendar, right? I should be able to kind of spot check, like, all right, Liv, show me a calendar. And it's really friggin' obvious what you're working on or what your focus is, what your goal is. Right, it's really obvious what your goals are. Like if I should be able to spot check any of you guys when you come to the event and I go, all right, show me your calendars. It should be really obvious what your goal is that you're working on. I really want that to sit with you guys. So schedule it, which like moves it into action, right? Like off the list and into your calendar. Time block it. Time block. If it wasn't weird, I'd call one of my kids time block because that's how much I love it. Time block. Boom, boom. This is when I'm going to the gym. This is when, and extra points if you turn that, instead of like gym, it's like project visible abs. Aaron loves this trick. Like Aaron will like almost like just put the name of your goal in there, right? Or sometimes we're more, as humans, we're more motivated by pain. Think of that when you're doing your marketing headlines, which we'll go to in the revenue call. But like pain hooks, right? Negative hooks outperform the gain hooks, right? Because we are more motivated by pain. A famous author once said, unless there isn't a death in the first chapter of a book, it won't be a bestseller. Like think through that. Yeah, implementation behaviors. Okay, so time block it, right? And when I say time block, everyone asks, oh, Doze, you wake up so early, like, how do you do that? It's like, not how I do that. I had to fucking do it, man. I had to do it. Before Amaya woke up and started needing her first, feed at whatever time that was, I had to get up early and slot in my first 90 minutes of deep work, which is my second thing. Work in blocks, right? 90 minutes, 45 to 90 minutes, but you've got to go deep. You've got to go deep. So the science shows that when you go into flow state, which is that state we all want, like that's the goal, right? It's when you sit down and do your deep work, you want to get into a flow state. So flow state, like there's some science behind it. but all I want to say is like, it's when like just time disappears. Like time disappears. You are in the zone. You're just loving it. Like you're working on some good stuff. Like you're in the zone. There's no distractions, etc. Now, when you get distracted, whether it's a hey Dozer, when we're back at the office, or it's like your phone goes off and it's a ping, ping, ping. Kids walk through the door. So when you go back to and then you go back to your piece of paper, you think it only takes like a minute. It doesn't. Science shows that it could take somewhere between 20 to 40 minutes to get back into the flow state of whatever you were doing. Okay. So put differently, it's almost as if like back at the office, back at the, like in my corporate world, right? Most businesses these days, it's shocking to think this, right? Spend 16 weeks a year doing nothing, like totally unproductive. 16 weeks a year because of the distractions. It's almost as if we all turned up on New Year's Day and just went, all right, we're going to chill till after Easter, not do anything until after Easter. And then it's just so normal out there, right? So this is the unlock for you guys to get so much more shit done without spending like another minute outside of like however much you want to work, right? So you've got to go deep, team. Turn the moon on, put the phone out into a different room. That's what I've got to do because I'm hopeless, right? Phone's in another room. The moon's on. I'm going deep. I literally texted Ben this morning to say, all right, dude, I'm going deep to prep for this. So that's where I'm at. Like people, we would talk about it. I would say I'm in the matrix. I'll chat to you when I come back out of the matrix, right? Like actually talk to your team about it. All right, I'm going deep, guys. So
Literally says going deep work now.
yeah, check that out. And then the last piece of this team is to make sure, like when you have a map, you don't just wait till you get to the destination to figure out if you got there or not. Like you course correct along the way. When they talk to the pilots up in the sky, my father-in-law is an aircraft engineer for Qantas for like 100 years. And I said, what's this autopilot thing? He goes, well, it's kind of real and it's kind of not. Like you still got to course correct along the way. Like it's kind of adjusting tiny little adjustments along the way. Otherwise, if they leave one side of the US and they're 2 degrees off, they think they get to New York. They don't. They get to a whole nother state. So every day at night, you do, and it's part of Separation Sunday, you do the daily review at night for tomorrow to make sure you're on track and to course correct for tomorrow, right? Now I have all of this in a template. If you want the template, just comment template in the chat and we'll make sure we get it over to you guys. And again, there's levels to this. I've got it in Notion as well. So, and I've got some homework. I want to talk about that in a second. Are you guys, yeah, flow state is a beautiful thing. Are you guys picking up what I'm putting down? Like, are you digging this? This is like systems. Save yourself time, energy, money, and stress. All right, so mindset blocks, right? So these are the common objections that I hear. I don't have time. Okay, cool. So for those of you that say I don't have time to do this, firstly, you're going to have a coffee anyway. And secondly is like, well, then show me your plan for the week. Like, show me a better version of it, right? Show me and particularly if you're still stuck, but you don't have time, right? Show me the books that you've been reading to get better at it. Like you do have time. We've just got to prioritize this. And it might be, Marley, Aaron, and the guys will be able to but it might be something else underneath that. I mean, there might be a little bit of fear behind that, or some other kind of mindset blocks that I would encourage you to kind of work through. The second part is I don't know what targets to write down. Okay, so that's cool. Neither did I. So go back to the sort of ideal business vision that you wrote down and your 90-day plans, if you're an MDS with us, right? And just think about if that's my vision, right? Vision without traction and action is just hallucination. So it's kind of like, if that's where I want to be by 90 days or a year, 10x, 90 days, what have I got to do? What's my one slice of that, right? So 90 days is 12 weeks. What's 1/12 of it that if I did these things, I'm going to move myself further towards 12 steps of this. What's the first step that I've got to do? And just write that down. Like, it's the power of just building momentum. I would rather you guys start with like one thing in 4 boxes than try and put 5 in 4 and not hit any of them. Because then you build momentum. Right? And the third one is I've got no one to delegate anything to. Fine. Perfect. That's your first goal. That is your first, is to make so many sales, is to get so good at lead gen, to make so many sales that you can afford to bring on your first team member, probably an assistant, so that now you've raised your hourly rate of how much you're worth, right? And now you can afford to find someone to do it for cheaper than what you were doing it for because you've given yourself a pay rise. So they're the 3 things. Now, the homework team, and I want you to do it right now. As in, bring up your calendar. This is the doing part. Bring up your calendar, my friends. Head to Sunday. Put in the time that you're going to do it. This is time blocking in practice. Put in the time that you're going to do it. And then in the description, put yourself a reminder. Do Separation Sunday. And post it to your Instagram and tag me at hey.dozer.
For clarity, do you want them to do that now or when they're doing it?
Well, both. But for what we're talking about right now is to do that. So on Sunday, I expect, I want to see who the implementers are, right? I expect to be getting ooh, and then all of you guys are doing Separation Sunday. Share it to your stories. I want your people to see that you guys are the real deal. You guys are serious about unleashing your hidden potentials, right? Be the person who you needed the most. Does that make sense, team? So with that, I would love to know into the chat, what did you catch that was the most helpful? Or those that do that, actually, I will send a personal Loom video of me doing it on the spot with the Notion templates as well, a over the shoulder walkthrough. Because I actually want you guys to do this. I can't tell you how much this has changed my entire life, my business, where we live now, that just stuff. You can do it on Fridays. Yep. Into the chat, team. The instructions were into the chat. What did you catch? What did you need to hear the most? What did you find most valuable? And get ready to ask questions. There can be questions about this or anything else. Raise hands into the chat. Let's get going. Delegate to elevate, delegate to elevate, allocation of tasks so everyone has a plan for the week. Yeah. Who, not how. Literally this morning, Benny and I were texting. I was at the gym and we were talking about setting up recurring tasks in Notion, how to do it properly, and we'll on YouTube videos. And he pulled me up and it went, should we just get Mika to do it? I was like, yeah, that's probably better. Who, not how. Excited to put a system in place. You don't get what you deserve, you get what you focus on. This was huge. Yeah, design your perfect week or the universe will assign it to you. Yes, man. Excited to put a system in place to help elevate delegation. Task so it doesn't feel like it's all me. I like how the structure doesn't specify daily tasks like the 1.0 version that would always throw me. 5 things and then pick the one. Yeah, this one's a bit more fluid, but you've still got to do time block. All right, team, you guys must be flying in your business. You must be flying. Oh, we got one.
Wait, can I add something on that? Because when you taught this to me, I was blocking it back to back to back to back to back, and then wondering why I wasn't getting everything done that I needed to. So
great.
The key word that you used and the analogy that stuck with me was having some sway. And basically, I think you used an analogy around palm trees, that they have to have a bit of movement to them, because if they're rigid in the ground, I don't know, scientifically it doesn't work. I don't get it.
Actually,
anyway, it made sense.
No, I appreciate that. So the analogy is, if you guys know the Petronas Towers in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, the two, I don't know if they still are. No, actually, probably someone in Dubai had done that. But anyway, at one point in time, they were the tallest twin towers in the world, right? Now, I watched a documentary from these engineers about how they built that frigging thing so high, and actually they move. Like the two towers, they actually move. There's a tiny little bit of sway because at that level, the wind gets pretty hectic. So they've built, for the engineers in the room, or watch the replay, there's a structure between the two towers right near the top that actually it allows for sway so it doesn't snap with the wind. Same thing with your time. So if you used to just, back to back to back to back, it's not a competition team, right? You got to have a little bit of sway in case I ring you and go, let's go for lunch. That was the rule I set for myself. Like I could still go for a long, lazy lunch. If I rang you, Min, and said, hey, I'm in the sunny coast, let's hang out. And you go, sorry, I'm on 3 back-to-backs and I can't live my life. No, that's the deal with yourself. Nardi, let's hit it. Revenue win first, dude, and question.
All right. So revenue win is that I'll kind of count this as like the first real month, but we hit profit, like a net profit for like the first time.
Wow.
Since we opened. Yeah.
Awesome. Fist bumps for Nardi, team. Let's do it. This is how we do it on this call. We get around each other.
And the boss is happy.
And the boss is happy.
Too. Yeah.
Big one. Well done.
Thank you. My question is, so I have the
Way to spend
opportunity
it.
of bringing on the opportunity of bringing on a salesperson, which will help me kind of free up some time. But I don't really know what questions to ask them and kind of how to interview them and whatnot. They're already a salesperson right now. They're a member, which is great because they'll love what they're selling essentially.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't really know what the right questions to ask them.
Yeah, I answered that in school for Liv. So if you search interview questions if you search, Liv got that answered and Liv found Ash. Then Ash made 88 sales in month 1 or 2.
Okay. Gotcha.
So
Also, Nardi, there's a whole training. It's the high converting team formation, and there's like a scorecard in there that runs through. Like I've created a scorecard when I was randomly hiring salespeople for us at some stage, so you can tell whether they're the right, like the real deal. So you can use that even if you've already got interviews booked, not just necessarily for on the phone, the initial one.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you very much.
good work. Great work, Nardi, on profit. Team, I want you to feel safe to ask some questions, and I want to see some questions. Otherwise, you guys are here to like extract some value out of this. Even if you're hitting all your goals, you're not going to sound stupid if that's what you're thinking.
That's so cool, Min. Thanks for
That's it.
sharing. Everyone check that out.
I can't see it. Here's a screenshot of my hat and task.
Do you want me to share it so you can see it, those?
Oh, the different hats you got. Good on you, mate.
Really cool.
That's really cool. See? Great. Love that. Time's up. Great. Team, see you next week. And this Thursday's nothing, but next Thursday, for those in MDS, is to design and craft your seasonal marketing plan. So it's a bit more than just offers. There's different levels to this. So for those that are particularly good with some tech, we're going to talk about new stuff that no one's ever heard before, right? That is working really, really well right now. All right, team. If there's nothing else, go Defenders. Yeah. All right. See you then. Bye.